want to start a series of stories that I have selected out of the Śrīmad Bhāgavata Purāṇas. There are thousands of stories in the Bhagavatam, but I've picked a few that are not very, very popular, but somewhat popular. But the ones that I have picked are specifically picked in such a way that I can somehow connect them to the modern days, make some relevance, find some relevance for those stories for today's world. The first one that I selected for this is from Canto 5. I think that means it's the volume 5. The verses are 6 to 11 or 6 to 9 more, the story themselves. Story is about the son of Lord Rishabadeva. You know the son quite well because our country is named after him. He is supposed to be the king, the very first king in the world. His name is Bhārata. That's why our country is Bharat. Bhārata, we know all about how good he was, his great country and his lineages and Kauravas and Pandavas and all that. And Mahabharata war and all that we know, and many, many stories in that. But this is about Bhārata himself and his attachment specifically. Bhārata, when he was reaching the end of his life, in other words, considering the 4 stages of life that our Hinduism categorizes our time on this earth into, he was in the last stage. I would say he was in the 3rd stage. So he was trying to find spirituality. So he used to go to the forest nearby and sit and meditate, find spiritual thoughts. One time that he was going to do that, he sees a beautiful fawn left nearby a river. The fawn looks helpless, a little deer, quite distraught and looked abandoned, didn't know how to survive, apparently. That was because earlier there was a flood and the fawn's mother was swept away by the force of the river. Unfortunately or fortunately, the fawn survived. Now the king Bharata has seen it. He is overwhelmed by compassion. He immediately picks up. He says, I'm going to care for it. He starts becoming a caretaker for that fawn. He very carefully nurtures the fawn, feeds the fawn, and takes care, protects the fawn from the predators. He takes it to the court, his kingdom. People are quite pleased by their king's compassion. at first. But then it becomes an obsession for him. He is all the time seen with it. He's not paying attention to some of the activities that need his attention. He is unable to meditate anymore. He's not focusing on the spirituality. His thoughts have been hijacked, totally hijacked by this little fawn. Years pass. Fawn becomes a deer. And it tries to find its own freedom. Slowly, Bharata king realizes the entanglement that he has gotten into, that attachment. Suddenly, he becomes aware of that weakness he's been suffering. He then reflects on the impermanent nature of all attachments. He then realizes and remembers the timeless truth of the self. There is a verse in Upanishad that corresponds to this particular type of, or that fits well for this situation. It's very hard to pronounce properly the Upanishads, but I'm going to try. This is 6.11 in Shvetashvatara. Eko devaha sarvabhuteshu gudaha sarvavyapi sarvabhutantaratma karmadyakshaha sarvabhuta divashaha sakshi cheta kevalo nirgunascha. What it actually means is that he is the one God, hidden in all beings, all pervading as the inner self within all that lives. While we were reading the Bhagavad Gita, we found that to be the soul. He is the overseer of all actions, the indweller of all beings, the eternal witness and consciousness, pure, attributeless, and without qualities. This realization helped Bharata distinguish the eternal witness from transient phenomena. He then understood that compassion itself is virtuous, but attachment clouds wisdom if unbalanced. He let the deer go, returning his attention to meditation and spiritual practice. Scientifically speaking, there is in neuroscience a thing called neural habits. These are those habits that are formed within the brain that is hard to sort of free oneself from. It's very obvious in modern times. Cell phone, online games, online gambling. So you hold on to that cell phone like it is the fawn for Bharata. Remember, in Kali Yuga today, every one of us is a king or a queen. So the story exactly fits us. So the takeaway from this is, compassion is virtuous, but attachment can cloud wisdom. And we must remember, attention is the architect of destiny. So focus is so important if we want to achieve our goals. Therefore, we have to guard that attention very wisely. True renunciation is not rejection of life, but balanced engagement with impermanent realities.